We're thinking about science. Science. I love science. Science was something that I always found myself just enjoying. Mostly chemistry, I have to be real. Physics I was not very good at. I can't say I had the best experiences with physics teachers. I more or less had to learn the entire grade 11 physics curriculum in grade 12 because most of my grade 11 physics class was spent watching YouTube videos, not by me, but a lot of the time by... You know what, maybe let's not get into that. But I always found myself fascinated by science. I always found myself just really amazed by the reactions and the way the world works and the way life is governed by these set of scientific rules and scientific laws. And, I think a major reason why I really enjoyed chemistry, I loved watching explosions. I loved going into class and taking, my teacher would take a little bit of sodium or whatever the elements are. I think sodium's one of them that are really reactive, putting it in water and then just watching it go. I just thought that was really cool. I just enjoyed seeing how sugar reacted with things. There's that one where you put sugar with something and it goes makes all sparks and it's all kind of cool. I just thought science was always so interesting. And from there, my school very much promoted this sort of idea of taking a university route. Give you a little background about me at the moment. I ended up going to university for chemistry, actually. I was studying a BSc, Bachelor of Science. And I got to the start of my second year, and the course load from my 3 chemistry courses that I was taking. I was only taking those 3 courses. The course load was extremely overwhelming for me, and I finished the course with a B, a C, and a D in those 3 courses, and I was like, okay, maybe the studying of science in that sense, in the university aspect degree, is not for me, and that's kind of why I turned my direction towards more of the artistic field and more of that stuff. But that doesn't mean I don't love science. I love testing a hypothesis. I love exploring ideas and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. At the very basis and foundation of society in some ways is science. There's no way we could have structured a building without having testing a hypothesis first. Somebody must have said, is there a structure we can create that can stand for longer than a season? Suddenly blueprints and architecture and all these things started to come out of it that we couldn't have even fathomed before science gave us a question. Maybe science in some ways is the basis of asking questions, because without questions there could be no science. Science is all about hypotheses. Is that the plural? Hypotheses? Hypotheses? I don't think that's right. Science is all about testing our hypothesis. Science is all about taking an idea, taking a question, and testing it against the natural world. Science tends to be about the physical reality that we exist in and how it governs us. Everything comes back down to the science, even the mind. The mind is a science itself. I love that experiment, the dual slit experiment. That's a really cool one to me. And I think that kind of is what started to become a bit of a catalyst for me in terms of my discovery of the potentials of the mind and what is really possible. The dual slit experiment, for those of you who don't know, is an experiment where they're shooting tiny little particles through a slit or through a screen or something, and basically they notice that when a person's eyes are focused on the particles or on the screen, it actually affected how the particles reacted, meaning that our consciousness and our mind literally affects the particles of the world around us. And to me, that's like a super cool idea. That's a super cool thing. Maybe that means more that things like mind powers and levitation and all these things, maybe more of it exists, but we just don't have a deep enough understanding of our minds in order to accomplish these things. Telekinesis. That's pretty cool. When I was a kid, it's great. When I was a kid, I used to just sit there. I had a book on my table, and I just sat there with my book, and I just tried to turn the pages with my hands. It never really worked. Not actually touching the page, but just guiding it, trying to use telekinetic stuff. Hasn't worked for me yet. I'll let you know if it does eventually. It would be kind of cool. But if it weren't for science, if it weren't for the ability to ask a question and test a hypothesis of can I move this page with just my mind, then there would be no way of really discovering. Science is so vital to our understanding of existence. And there's very much the Western science world that's based on the physical sciences, and then there's the Eastern science world that's very much based on the mind and the consciousness and that science. And in a lot of ways, what we're doing nowadays is learning how to integrate the two and to take the Eastern ideologies and the Western ideologies to create the ultimate science that is based around everything. You look at Tesla. Tesla was very much, he said that if you're looking to understand the fundamentals of reality, think in waves, energy, and something else, something along those lines. Maybe I'll find the quote and I'll put it on here as well. But there's so much that is underlying within our world, so much to understand, so much to dive into. Science to me is just such a fascinating space to explore, because science is never ending. You can constantly ask deeper questions, and the scientific community, I can't say I'm necessarily a part of it, but to those of you who continue to ask questions, to those of you who continue to discover and explore more of our existence and to truly understand that which has already been created, I thank you. I appreciate you, and I continue to look forward to all that is discovered in the future. So keep testing those hypotheses. I think it's a word. I'm going to go with it at this point. Keep exploring, keep discovering, keep challenging that which has already been defined, and never let ourselves be defined by a certain set of rules or ideologies. Keep growing, other than potentially that of love and that of, the universal mind and kind of that sort of stuff I've already talked about. But don't let ourselves be rigid in our thoughts. We shouldn't let ourselves be stuck in any means of thinking, because there is always, at least in my experience, there's always been a new idea or a new approach that has transcended me above my current belief system. And if there wasn't this allowance within me that said to me, okay, let's continue to rise above our thought patterns, then I would still be in the same space I was a year ago. And I'm just grateful that I'm not, simply because I accepted and embraced the idea that I am also an evolving individual, and that I'm just here to live my best life. And in some ways that's a question in itself, and that's an experiment in itself of what is the best life? What is a higher life? And what does it mean to transcend a current condition in order to create better? And what is better? What defines better? These are hypotheses that I continue to hope to discover, check out, explore, and discuss. And yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, get engaged, get involved with the Studio Raphael community. Let us know if you have anything that you want to share about science. Let us know, or me, or whoever, about the things that you're interested in discussing going forward. And I just look forward to hearing your thoughts. So thanks for being here. Thanks for stopping by. My name's Aiden. This is Studio Raphael, and we'll see you around the studio sometime, I hope. Take care.